The scream was stolen not once, but twice, by very different thieves. Everyone assumes a painting of such global renown, a symbol of existential dread, would be guarded with impenetrable security. They are wrong. The story of Edvard Munch's iconic masterpiece isn't just about its creation, but its remarkable, almost casual disappearances. Two distinct thefts, separated by a decade, highlight vulnerabilities both practical and philosophical. One was a brazen smash and grab, almost an act of performance art. The other, a meticulously planned operation targeting a much larger prize. First, we must understand the object of desire. Edvard Munch painted 4 versions of the scream between 1893 and 1910. The most famous, a pastel on board, was held at the National Gallery of Norway in Oslo. This version, depicting a figure clutching their head against a swirling, blood-red sky, became an enduring image of modern anxiety. Its raw emotional power is undeniable, making it a prime target, not just for admiration, but for those with darker intentions. The first theft occurred on February 12, 1994, the opening day of the Winter Olympics in Lillehammer. The world's attention was elsewhere, a calculated move by the perpetrator. At 6:30 a.m., 2 men propped a ladder against the National Gallery in Oslo. They climbed through a window, snatched the scream right off the wall, and vanished into the pre-dawn darkness. The entire operation took less than 50 seconds. They left a note, "Thanks for the poor security." A taunt, a challenge, perfectly encapsulating the audacity of the act. This wasn't a sophisticated high-tech heist, it was a brazen, almost theatrical grab. The initial investigation was a flurry of activity. Police scoured the city, but the thieves had left little trace. The painting, small enough to be easily concealed, seemed to have simply evaporated. The theft became a global sensation. How could such a famous work be stolen so easily? The question echoed through the international art community, highlighting a persistent vulnerability in museum security worldwide. Weeks turned into months. Then, in May 1994, a ransom demand arrived, $1 million to be paid to a specific individual. Norwegian police launched a sting operation. Undercover agents, posing as art buyers, met with the thieves. The painting was recovered, undamaged, a mere 3 months after its disappearance. 4 men were arrested, including the notorious art thief Pal Njur. Njur, already known for stealing another Munch painting, Vampire, years prior, seemed to enjoy the notoriety. His motivation wasn't purely financial. There was an element of thrill, a desire to outwit the system. The first theft, while dramatic, was ultimately a short-lived ordeal. The painting was back, security was ostensibly tightened, but the lesson hadn't fully sunk in. 10 years later, history would repeat itself with far greater stakes. August 22, 2004. This time, the target was the Munch Museum, also in Oslo, and this time it wasn't just the scream. The thieves also took Munch's Madonna, another masterpiece. 3 armed men entered the museum in broad daylight during visiting hours. They threatened staff and visitors, tore the paintings from the walls, and escaped in a black Audi, right in front of bewildered onlookers. This was a much more violent professional operation. The thieves wore balaclavas, carried firearms, and executed their plan with chilling efficiency. The public spectacle amplified the outrage and fear. The getaway car was found abandoned shortly after, partially burned. The paintings, however, were gone. This time there was no quick recovery, no immediate ransom demand. The investigation became an international hunt. Interpol was involved, art crime units across Europe mobilized. The estimated value of the 2 paintings soared, driving a desperate search. For 2 agonizing years, the masterpieces were missing. Experts feared they might be destroyed or sold into the black market, never to be seen again. The art world held its breath. Finally, in August 2006, after an extensive police operation, the paintings were recovered. They were found in a private residence, somewhat damaged by dampness and handling, but largely intact. 6 individuals were convicted in connection with the theft, including the getaway driver and the mastermind. It was revealed the paintings were intended as collateral in drug deals, not for their artistic value. The Scream and Madonna underwent extensive restoration, returning to public display in 2008, behind vastly improved security measures. The 2 thefts underscore a crucial point about art crime. Sometimes the motive is fame. Sometimes it's sheer opportunity. But often it's a cold, calculated transaction where priceless art becomes a mere bargaining chip in a darker underworld. The stories behind these disappearances are as compelling as the art itself. Next, we'll uncover the vanishing act of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist, where $250 million in art disappeared without a trace.